Welcome everybody to day 5 of the English Cantos, HellWard. You will remember on day 1 we found myself in a hospital ward dying of cancer. On day 2 we moved to Canto 2, we moved to find in a place in hell I encountered my mother. On day 3 I encountered an ex-pupil, somebody I taught, and on day 4 I encountered an ex-boss of mine who was pretty dreadful. So today, a couple of things to say. The first is, if you are watching this, Michael Hayter, an old friend and colleague of mine, thank you. I'm going to try to speak up so you can hear every word I'm saying. And I think it's also worth commenting, if you're there, thank you, Michelle. The other thing to say, just before I start on Canto 5, which is called Poet Friend, is that this is in fact the premiere reading of this particular canto. The first 3 cantos have appeared on the Society of Classical Poets website. Canto 4 appeared on the Lichfield Chronicle website, but this Canto 5 has not appeared anywhere yet, so nobody has actually seen or heard of it. It's completely new. So I hope you'll enjoy that fact. And in fact, it's the first of 3 cantos, 5, 6 and 7, which are all about various kinds of friend. This is my ex-poet friend. Then we go on to a college friend, a university friend, and finally I go right back to a very early friendship which started at school. So it goes into a friendship at a deeper and deeper level. Poet Friend, Canto 5. There was a door behind which closed forever, and I, despite the shock and overload, knew I'd escaped, just finally to sever the hold he had, the sense of something owed, and guilt engendered by superior powers on those below them. Now another code to live by. But where were we, and what hour? Only ahead I saw a passageway, narrowly lit, narrow, sloping, dour, all sunlight withdrawn, and time never day. But still my mentor stood beside. I made to move. He gestured otherwise to pray. The wound you have is serious, he said. No man escapes without invoking grace. I dropped to my knees and raised arms to spread upwards. But that arm which had struck that face felt all immobilized, except its heat's returning fever, rising in its haste. To pray. Ah, yes, truly, that's what I seek. Or so I thought then, as one hand to other hand sought to press above the heart and meet. But no effort seemed to get me further. I could not reconcile my own 2 sides, be one person, integrated, together. The dark seemed darker still, the path less wide we had to travel. Where were we going? So-called learning proving one route to pride and not much more. Humans puffed up with knowing, not knowing exactly the hell they're in, of endless iteration, pointless doing. Then Dante's hands reached out and embraced mine, as if by force he should join my split soul. And as hands touched by my heart, some divine surge rushed through, and I regained control of my whole body. 2 words on my lips formed a new kind of prayer, pure and full. My arm repaired, motion and strength, hand gripped with its old vigour, waiting on the Lord. Like eagles they renew, will never slip. In an instant I was up, keen to ford the dark, which even now, as in response, thickened, so vision less and more proved hard. My guide stepped forward, not subject to chance, though groping as he had to, for in this murk was no other way we could advance. So slowly, hands feeling, keen not to miss each step they guided, our voices kept touch, So I asked him why he'd come, left his bliss for me. At last he spoke, but said not much. I wandered too, was lost in a dark wood, as you now in this hospital's cruel clutch. But there is one who names your name, names for good, who in our heart of hearts is pure, and stands before the one, though yet she is not dead. But our heart working ceaselessly commends you, which as prayer, total in belief, before that very throne, achieves its end. Through her, Beatrice ordered your relief. I gasped, breathless, like my life emptied out, and for an instant my heart shed all its grief, for she loved me still, and no doubt. Love lights, and love cannot be overcome, because beauty stops motion at its root. So her face shone through like a wave's white foam, flushing the bleak sea of its deepest black. But there, almost there, I saw them, alone, working their weird ministry together, stuck beside the wall, but Ginty in the bed, and Marlene tending him, though she was sick while he had health, apart, that is, from needs that plagued his mind in its eternal torment. She drank a lot, and asked when they'd be wed. Her voice a whine, why had he been so absent? He feigned concern, his voice beguiling, soft, revealing nothing like his real intent. I saw his eyes twitch, and his father's ghost haunt his every calculation. His will to marry Marlene, inheritance lost, but she must be led, held constant to him still. Another drink then, he proffered, she quaffed, they laughed, though she sounding desperate shrill, and he insincere, with a phony laugh, becoming a nasal snort, jackass style, yet through it something else, some other stuff wanted to surface and be known the while. How the laughter slowly dimmed, they aware increasingly that no laughter, no smile, removed them one jot from just where they were. And now the light that my love's face had lit began to dim, as nothing here would cure pain. For like Jason before, whom Medea's wit finally destroyed in a double act, so Ginty now discovered his own pit. Don't leave me. How fragile then his pact with her. She drank the more, while his smile drained. Please don't go, he begged her, as his voice cracked. Please. His hand reached out, fumbling, old and veined, attempting some connection never had, and she, immobile, drunk, looked and disdained him now. You don't know grief or where it's hid, do you, Ginty? But wait till you are old, then you will remember what I said. He whimpered, though in bed, how he felt cold, how nothing was as it might be. But then, aware he'd been observed with too much told, he stopped, let go of her, let go of pain. James, he guffawed, his beady eyes on me, fixed and computing as they did their scan. Who was the other? Why did they walk free? What brings you here, he ventured, laughing as to indicate just how nonchalantly careless in the depths all was between us. And all the while Marlene ignored, drank more. A mutual friend, I said, brought me. The Muse. Remember her? She got me through the door. Beside me too, the master whom she sent to lead beyond this waste to better shores. Dante, you know? His eyes made a sharp squint, with a sharper intake still, not his breath, but soul contracting into its sharpest flint of being, severing any belief, for visibly Dante diminished him. Still, whatever, he needs must hide his stress. Of course I know the Muse, wrote poems, just like you, Dante, Oxford man, you know, with Heaney, others. We were all at Magdalen. Poor James, who doesn't know handy. I do. He paused, looking for signs. Was Dante won over? To which college, James, did you go? A small place, Ginty. Small place, but my own. There I began the work, small steps, but each one in faith, I trust, takes me home. A sadness swept me. Not words from his lips only, but that I desired to reply at all, since I thought that we shared friendship. As that thought struck, another quality remasked Ginty's face, this time a jeer. Does Dante know I'm now an OBE? Who cares for poetry? It's nothing here. And as he said those very words, deep down, something changed. Like some thermometers rising mercury hitting red. Ginty's frown I can't forget, and Dante's arm about my shoulder, hugging me like his true son, and Marlene's hair, once red, now growing shoots of flecked and flecking grey, like fine foamed froth, spun off from her head, as some snake might spit. Turn, my mentor said. He has denied truth. On this you cannot look, but see my chest. He pointed, and there I saw his cloak's brooch, absorbing silver and mirror polished. And so I came to see Ginty, reversed in image, friend as was, on Dante's breast. Medusa, petrifying one she cursed, all serpents of hell alive in her stare, withering, tense as a bladder to burst. He howled once, clutched a heart that wasn't there, rolled backwards, helpless like a dropped stone, till stopped in his own horror's frozen fear. Run, Dante said, run, flee Medusa's zone. With that, his hand snapped tight as shielding screens across my eyes and swung, then shoved me down the way so that my head swayed, lost its means of balance in trying to run. Almost I fell, but Dante's strength held me, a beam upon which I depended, though a ghost. How could that be? And too, how could a friend betray all we stood for and our shared past? But now my lungs fell under divers bends, and I could barely hold the strain. He, though, sensing collapse, but danger at an end, ceased running. Hands slipped loose, and I saw now only more darkness. Felt invasive cold, as marble in winter, entombed in snow, despite the running hard as I could. But such heat now seemed scant, a candle's worth, perhaps to light a blackness dense as old, settled as a crust over all the earth, unbreakable. Despair welled up inside. Where are you, my friend? I cried out in grief. It seemed to me that all my friendships lied. What was this corridor? Where were the true ones? But then Dante's voice rose, took the lead, cutting the murk. Now learn what liars do. Though I could not see him speak, yet how proud and certain his voice rang. And then I knew the folly I had followed, lacking doubts, thinking I had friends untested the while, and here discovering for myself their roots. Whether his voice or my thoughts sharpened while, but somehow the way ahead seemed clear. Though dark still, the path stretched, it seemed, for miles. Slowly, laborious, we made our way where, for sure, false friends, pretended love, disguised their baser motives with bland cant of care, which meant ahead was dread of what I despised. To meet ones I'd loved and shared once a bond, and so to see them fresh with different eyes. All sickness now that then was sweet and fond. I prayed protection, grace to leave this land. Thank you.